Hello, my name is Matt Michael, and I am the host of Eye on Art. And in today's segment, we'll be talking with Rudolph Schroeder, a fine artist here in Toledo, Ohio, that works with pen and ink. He'll be talking about his life experiences, we'll be going through a little bit of his history, he's going to show us some of his techniques, and we'll get to know the artist. I hope you enjoy today's segment with one fine artist, Rudolph Schroeder.
Well, I think I grew up, was lucky to grow up in New York in the 40s, which was crowded, but it was nice. You could sit on the park bench in Central Park at 2 o'clock in the morning with your date and not worry about a thing. So I pursued my career. Finished high school, worked, like I said, in the textile industry, was inspired by these people that were in the industry, these professional marketing, salesmen. We were big in that. We had all the big textile. J.P. Stevens, and like I said, the Dan River, women will remember the Dan River gingham and the Cannon towels.
Oh, yeah, I remember Can.
Yeah.
They're still around, aren't
Yeah,
they?
well, yeah, I think they're made overseas. All the textile industries, all overseas. I think just today it's the high-tech textiles, like for airbags and stuff. So then I was drafted into the service. The Korean War was on, and I was drafted. So I did my 2 years in the Marine Corps, but I got into they put me in the 2nd Marine Division, which took care of the European front. The 1st Division was in Korea. Now, I didn't go to Korea because I was in the 2nd Marine Division. Our division did landings and bivouacking off the coast of Italy. We did that, once a year. And so I did my 2 years and got out, gonna go. So I got discharged, went back to New York City to my family and said, goodbye, I'm going back down south. I'm going to get my degree. So I took off, I was single, and went to North Carolina. And then I met my wife, Daphne Weathersby, at a YWCA dance in Raleigh. Here's a New Yorker with all the women in New York. That gal stopped me on my tracks. So we dated, and a year and a half we got married. And we've been married, well, it's 2015. We got married in 1955. I think it was on $150. I was broke. When I was a kid, I dabbled with pencil and pen and ink. I did, Batman and Captain America and all that. Then I progressed and did planes, like I said, when the war was on, planes. And then I got away from it because I was in the service, and then college, so that's 4, 5, 6, almost 7 years I got away from it. I had my territory. I covered 3 states. I knew what to do, where I was going, so I could plan my time. Typical family man, cutting the grass, doing this and that. And then in the winter time, out here in the Midwest, I didn't fool around with cars or puzzles or anything, but I did painting. I just wanted to do more. And then I really got something like 15 tall ships and, maybe 13, 15 lighthouses artwork that I did.
They're beautiful pieces.
Yeah, and I did that. So I really got into it, and then I explored with the exotic birds of paradise.
Yeah, tell me about the birds of paradise.
Well, my brother, by the way, I had 4 brothers in the Second World War, all overseas. There was 6 boys. 4 of them were all overseas in the Second World War, and the other 2, my brother and I, the young brother, were home. We were home. And then one brother was in New Guinea. So for some reason, I was looking at magazines about New Guinea, and here's these birds of paradise in New Guinea. So I said, look at these beautiful things. So I went down to the library, and I got pictures of them. Say, I'm going to do those one of these days. So I put them in my portfolio. I did a lot of that. When I saw a picture years ago in my late 20s, even 30s. A lot of times I would take a picture in the library. I'm going to do this someday. And I did that. So one day I got around, say, I would say it was 7 years after he came home from the service. I said, I'm going to give my brother the originals. And that's when I did the Birds of Paradise.
Is your brother still alive today?
No. He died when he had a long life, 86. He was 86. All my brothers lived pretty long, in their 80s.
Are you the youngest?
Second youngest.
Second youngest.
Yeah, I'm 85. I'll be 85 this year. And my younger brother, I think he's 84. No, not 84. No, he's about 81. Yeah, he's the youngest. Here, let me tell you what I did. In other words, I would see something that was in the newspaper or on TV that somebody was doing something. And the one that impressed me was Dennis Conner winning the America's Cup. That was a big hullabaloo. That was when Reagan was in the White House.
1987.
Yeah, 80, that's right, 86, 87, around that era. So I said, well, I'm going to get a picture of that boat that he's going to race. So I got a picture of the boat, went down to the library, and I said, well, he won that race, and I'm going to do that boat, and I'm going to put in the background the cup, the America's Cup, which is that you saw there. So I did that, finished, and I was pleased with it, and then I sent it to him, and he sent me a nice letter thanking me, and of course I kept some copies and sold them. I didn't promote that like I should have. I was a little late, but I did sell enough to, give me satisfaction that my name was out there. And of course, the fact that he put it in his private conference room in San Diego and wrote me a nice letter and then sent me a signed book that he published on the comeback, how he won the America's Cup. All the work involved and all the training that that the men that were on that boat. I think there was 4 or 5 of them that ran that, and that was a big thing then. And it was on the front of Sports Illustrated.
Oh my!
The winning of the cup. So that was the first one, and then the next one was the Miss Liberty and Peace in the Millennium. That's when I did a good job, took my time, and I got the best of show at the Marine City Art Fair in Marine City, Michigan.
Oh, wonderful.
And that was in the papers, and the original went to the White House. Clinton was in, sent me a note, thank you for it. The second copy, I think, went to the Statue of Liberty. It's there as you and I talk now. It's on Liberty Island, hanging up. And then Giuliani has a copy, signed print. The Premier of France, Mitterrand at that time, sent me a nice letter in French. It's in Paris. The UN, Sorensen. The dean I sent it to the dean of the School of Textiles at NC State, and got a nice letter. That's nice. And my boyhood hero, Ted Williams, sent me. It's in his conference room in Florida, just like Dennis Conner is in his conference room in San Diego.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I did things like that, but that one, and I sold a lot of prints on that. I did real well in Michigan, in Ohio, and in New York. And then I did the Blue Water Bridge in Port Huron, Michigan, the 50th anniversary. And
that's a nice piece, by the way.
Yeah, and that I got a letter from the governor. I got him the original, and then the mayor of Port Huron, nice letters, and it was hung up in the main library in Port Huron, Michigan, right downtown. And then let me tell you this: I with my ships and nautical work, I was on Michigan educational TV for a whole month on my lighthouses and on my toll ships.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay, let's say I have an interest in a ship, toll ship, that I've seen in a magazine. Like I said earlier, I want to paint that. So I'll get down to the library where I'd seen it, have a photograph, Xerox copy made of it, and that's 8 by 10, and I'll say, well, I'm going to do a 16 by 20 size picture. So I'll take that 8 by 10 and just look at it and say, well, I'm going to enlarge it. And I just have a gift of proportion, and I'll give the outline in pencil, the sails, the ropes, the bow and the stern of the ship, preliminary. And if it looks good, then I'll start my ink. Okay, here is the concept of pen and ink over acrylic paint. The first thing you do is get a pencil and do your outline of the subject, whether it's a dog, a lighthouse, a horse. In this particular case, we're working on a tall ship, so we're going to start with the sails. Number one, you draw the outline, the overall outline of the sail. Number two, you then take your acrylic paint and then you paint the sail and make sure that it's a very smooth, light viscosity, because you'll have trouble with your pen and ink blotting and smearing. The third thing you do when the acrylic is dry on your canvas, the acrylic paint is dry, is use your pen and ink, and there you go to work and show your areas where there is curvature, non-flatness, shadows in the sail, and then you go on to fill in the hardware, in other words, the sail seams, ropes, slings, tackles, rigging, and then you've got your product.
So, Rudy, tell me about the Waterville Bridge, your most recent achievement.
Yeah, that's called the Roof de Boeuf Bridge in Waterville, built around 1907, a railroad bridge, and at that time it was one of the longest bridges in the country.
Oh my!
And it's right now it's decaying, and I guess they're just going to let it decay. I don't have all of the data on what they're going to do with it. It seems to me they're just going to let it decay. But anyhow, it's a beautiful bridge, and I did a pen and ink winter scene, and it came out very well. The reason why I did it is because one of my buddies at my coffee group cafe said, "Hey Rudy, when are you going to come up with something like you did for Dennis Conner or for the Miss Liberty, And lo and behold, I said, well, I got to think about it. I don't know. Lo and behold, 2 weeks later, he comes in with pictures of the bridge decaying. So he gave me 4 or 5 pictures, and I said, whoa, that's a nice picture. Although it's decaying, from age 1907, here it is, 2015. But the scene was good, and I said, I can fix this up. So I went down to your great library, Toledo, got the original photograph of the bridge when it was built in 19...
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I work,
Yeah.
I'm a little history buff. I want to see what it was originally.
Yeah.
So I got that, did the water, did the surroundings, the trees, the evergreens, and put the bridge in as it was when it's built, and it come out real well.
Oh,
and that is now now in there's framed pictures in the Waterville Library, the Waterville Chamber of Commerce, the Waterville Administration Building,
Wow.
and in a few restaurants, and in the Silver Lining Art Studio. They
That's
have
amazing.
the original.
Wow.
And I've sold about 7 or 8 prints, but it come out real. That was the most recent one. But it it was funny. It took this guy. He's asking me what I'm going to do, and then he comes back 2 weeks and says, "Here's some pictures." He probably had them in his pocket, and it's a good picture. The water come out good. The bridge come out. So there's a scene. There's a piece of artwork on the bridge as it was, right now when people see it. So that would be a good keepsake for people, Little
I
town.
know. It's so gorgeous
Yeah,
there.
they're going downtown. And Dale's, the Anderson family that owns Dale's, died at a new one, the one that's really flourishing down there. They put the picture up. It's in there.
Oh, how nice.
It's in there.
That's great, Rudy.
So it's in there.
Nice
So the
achievements.
people can see it. Yeah. So.
Now, how do you see the future of your art?
Well, I'm going to continue to do these things, and I'm a little more selective now. Now in Michigan, people love lighthouses, so I did a lot of lighthouses, and I sold a lot of lighthouses. They love lighthouses in Michigan, and I think the Ohio likes old barns and cars, vintage cars and barns. So I'm going to be doing that, and want to make a little bit of money, have your business grow. You want to do something if you can, if you have the how would you say it? Not the talent, the idea of what's going to click. Like someone said, Procter and Gamble, marketing people, they're always out in the field trying to find out what the housewife loves, what she needs in the house. Well, I think the artist should do that. What is of interest to you?
Right.
Maybe high techs. Maybe it's painting satellites. Could be.
Never know.
You never know. Spaceships. For a while there, it was. I would say back in the 50s and the 60s in the East, it was these clipper ships were very popular. Especially in Boston. The Cutty Sark and the Thermopylae and Panay Salem. I've got a few there, but that was big. And look at Leroy Neiman, what he did with those sports.
Oh,
Remember the sports paint? Well, his was all sports. Tennis, baseball.
Yeah.
He was magnificent what he turned out. But see, he chose a topic that he felt was popular. Now, what's going to be popular? What will people want? Could be barns, because they're decaying, they're falling down, and then
Actually, you've painted a barn, and I photographed it, the same barn out there on the way to
yeah,
Waterville.
yeah.
And we didn't know it.
Yes.
And we got basically the same scene.
Around 64, I think
Yeah.
it was 64.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah. I think art will always be around. When you like something and you enjoy it and you're focused, stay focused, and it'll come to you. I went to school on the GI Bill, otherwise I would have never went. And then, of course, I got married, and that even helped because the wife, she was working, and I was going to school. It was fun. I have been very lucky. But then some guy says, no, Rudy, you make your own luck. I guess maybe you do. Go after it. You can overcome those waves and stuff because you're prepared for it. I couldn't wait for the majority of my 20 years in the field to get up in the morning. What is Goodyear going to tell me today? What is General Motors going to say? In other words, hey, Rudy, could you folks do this and that? Then my head would blow up with ideas and stuff. That's what I like. And that's where I think my artistic values come in. New things.
Yeah.
New things.
You had to go beyond
Yeah, here's
the norm.
here's the current product that you're selling. and then someone says, well, could you make this? I think my artistic, what do you say, my artistic values fitted into my sales work. And then I transferred that to my artwork too. You know, like these pictures I took in the books and had them photographed. Sometimes I would change the color. Now I did a tall ship all blue, and it sold. One woman bought the original. I think it was $300. It was a big picture. Oh, that's going to go great in my room. My room is blue.
Well, I really do appreciate you coming over here and spending some time on Ion Art to tell us about your life's history, your art, and your experiences. I hope everybody's enjoyed our segment here with Rudy Schroeder, a fine artist, a gentleman, a scholar, and a friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.